Hi, boys and girls. Here we are again, and we are talking about measurement. And last time we talked about measuring length, how long something is or how short something is. We did that when we were in person in class. And the other day we talked about capacity, measuring how much a container can hold. Okay, that's called capacity. Now, today we're going to talk about weight. Weight is another way to measure to see how heavy or how light something is. And I have a book that's going to teach us all about weight. And then you're going to do your worksheet all on your own. Okay, so I'm going to flip my phone and we are going to watch, or I'll read you the story Weight this way. Last time it was backwards, so I'm going to do it this way. This is a nonfiction book. And that means, what does that mean? Do you remember? True facts. That's right. So this is all about weight. Math Counts Weight by Henry Pluckrose. Weight is a measuring word. We weigh things to find out how heavy they are. Like she's measuring those apples or the tomatoes to see how heavy they are at the grocery store. Why do we need to measure weight? Well, doctors check the weight of babies to make sure that they're growing properly. When you go to the doctor, they always measure you to see how tall you are and to see how heavy you are, your weight, to make sure that you're growing properly. We weigh ingredients when we cook. Only a small quantity of flour is needed to make a cake. We weigh small quantities in ounces or grams. But the flour is being weighed before it's sent to the bakery. Large quantities of flour are needed to make all the bread sold in a supermarket. Large quantities are weighed in pounds or kilograms. So smaller things, like what she's doing, is weighed in ounces or grams. But big things, like your body and this flour, is weighed in pounds. Everything weighs something, even very light things like letters or postcards. Now, this is a machine that you put it on, you put something on top of it, and it shows you how much it weighs in ounces. There are lots of letters and postcards in these mail bags. Why are the bags so heavy? We can tell over here, the letter is very light. Why is this bag so heavy? It's got letters in it. It's because there's a lot of them. A whole bunch of them together makes it heavier. Sometimes we can guess the weight of things. Which do you think is lighter, the feather or the stone? Which one do you think? Yep, the feather's very light. Stone's a little heavier. If you threw it in the water, the feather would probably float on the top because it's very light, but the stone would probably sink to the bottom. How would you make sure that you've guessed correctly? Well, we got the feather on the scale. This is a scale, and it will tip down on the heaviest part. So the stone is here. So you can tell the scale's tipping this down this way by the stone side. So the stone is heavier. Guessing that one thing is heavier than another isn't always easy. How will you find out for sure which pile of tea is heavier? So here we have tea that's out of the tea bags. And here are tea bags with the tea inside the tea bags. Piles almost look the same, don't they? Kind of hard to figure that out. So you could put a stone in one pan of the scale. Remember that scale? And the tea bags in the other. And here you have the stone is heavier and the tea bag's lighter. So the stone's heavier than the tea bag. And over here, you have the stone and the tea, and this time the tea that's not in the tea bags is heavier than the stone. So we can tell that the tea that's not in the bags is heavier than the tea in the bags because it's heavier than the stone. But stones come in different weights. So standard weights are used to measure heaviness. We use ounces and pounds. 16 ounces equals a pound. And a lot of countries use grams and kilograms. Mostly here we use pounds and ounces. A kilogram of apples weighs exactly the same wherever you buy it. If you have a pound of apples, it doesn't matter what store you go to, a pound is a pound. If the apples were heavier than a kilogram, the scale wouldn't balance. But it's the same. This is a kilogram. Here's the apples. Or if that was a pound, here's the apples. The scale would be even. If the apples are lighter than a kilogram, the scales would not balance either. So it's up because it's lighter. Kilograms heavier. And over here, the apples are heavier. You can use scales to compare the weights of different things. A kilogram of apples is as heavy as a kilogram of potatoes. They're both a kilogram, so they're going to be the same. Doesn't matter what it is. Would a kilogram of rice weigh more or less or the same as a kilogram of cheese? Look at the scale. They're the same, so a kilogram is a kilogram. Doesn't matter what it is. But it looks like there's more here, doesn't it? Because it takes more. This is lighter, so it takes a lot more of the rice to equal out the same as the cheese. It's important to know how heavy things are. Clerks at the store often weigh food when they sell it, and we pay for the weight of the food that we buy. Even when food is sold in packages, the weight of the contents is marked on the label, so you know how much you're getting. Certain recipes call for a certain amount of food, so you can tell on the package how much it is. Your luggage, when you're going on a trip, on an airplane, the luggage is weighed at the airport before it's loaded onto a plane. If the plane were overloaded, it wouldn't be able to fly safely, so they have to weigh to see how heavy your bag is. And usually it's 50 pounds per person. There's too many bags and they're too heavy, the plane's going to have problems, and you don't want that to happen. So you have to weigh it. Trucks and vans must not be overloaded either. This small truck would not be able to carry this huge boat with it. But this truck can. It's equipped for heavier things. A crane operator has to be sure that the crane is strong enough to lift the weight of the goods that it's moving. Here he is carrying these bricks over there. But this crane has a limit to how much it can pick up. If it's too much, it might break the crane. Signs next to some bridges tell drivers the weight that each bridge can support. Very heavy trucks can't travel over this bridge. It says weak bridge. The bridge wouldn't hold their weight. What do you think would happen if a huge truck that weighs a lot more than this would go on this bridge? What do you think would happen? Might break the bridge and might fall down. And some people lift heavy weights as a sport. You ever hear of weightlifting? And a lot of people lift weights to build up their muscles too for exercise. And this is actually a sport. Look at the pounds that are on this bar. How heavy were you when you were last weighed? When you went to the doctor? Do you remember? Maybe you're heavier now because you're growing. Okay, so this is our worksheet that you're going to complete on your own. Let me put it out here. Okay, it's got the date on it, January 21st. Okay, so you have different objects in each block, and the first one's done for you, and what you're doing is comparing to see which one would weigh more. You're going to circle the one that would be heavier and cross out the one that's lighter. So here's an apple and a leaf. And they circled the apple because the apple would be heavier than the leaf. We'll do this one right now. This is a book and a feather. Which one do you think would be heavier? If you said book, you're right. So you would circle the book and cross out the feather. So circling the heaviest one and crossing out the lightest one. Now on the back, it's going to get a little tricky because on the back, you have 3 objects, okay? And you're still going to circle the one that's the heaviest and just cross out the one that's the lightest, but don't do anything to the medium-sized one. So look at the top one. We have a bunny, a stuffed bunny, a big car, and then a little balloon. So they circle the car because the car is a lot heavier than the bunny and a lot heavier than the balloon. And the balloon is lighter than the bunny. So you're circling the heaviest and crossing out the lightest. Fix my phone. Okay, boys and girls, so that's your work for math today. And next week, I'll have on Google Classroom some practices for capacity and weight, okay, on boom cards that you can practice. Okay, have a good day. Bye-bye. Miss you.